One of the questions about the spiritual exercises, especially as it's tied to the history of the Jesuits, is to what extent are the exercises sort of an, a role or a charism that forms the identity of the Jesuits? Unfortunately, in a way, for the Jesuits, there was a very quick move into education, and Jesuits became known for their intellectual tendencies and living in their head. And so the spiritual exercises, which are more affective, more emotional, or more leading towards a visceral response, seem somehow false. I think it's maybe a bit of a false dichotomy. I think in most human beings, there's a desire to have both elements. We can't be simply in our heads, and we can't be simply in our emotions, that we have to be integrated. And I think all of that then sounds a lot like psychology. And I think from our 21st century perspective, the big question is, was Ignatius introducing a sort of psychological paradigm in the 16th century? I think that's very difficult to sustain as an argument, because I think as much as the individual was emerging in the 16th century, it hadn't emerged so much that we can start to talk about a sort of Freudian kind of psychology. At the same time, I think Ignatius was very much aware of human nature, of a sort of philosophical anthropology that says we have a brain, we have emotions, we have to respond using both, and we have to be aware of the risks of both. And I think the exercises, if they're done faithfully and honestly, will call us out of our heads if we're too much in justifying everything, or call us out of our hearts if we're not thinking through things. Because in the end, God created us as we are, with elements of both. And so both have to be applied. I think that the weakest points in the history of the society is when one or the other came to dominate too much.